Drivers and Danica, start your engines!
Pull those belts down tight one more time. Warm up those tires. Hit your marks and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, NHRA, and local dirt track and drag strip racing talk. This is the fastest hour in radio.
Where'd you go? Where's your home? How'd you end up all alone? Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Here's your host, Steve West and Dustin Harmer, with producer John Myers.
Yes, indeed, the gang is all here. Welcome into another weekend here as the Brickyard looms very heavily on the schedule here.
The Yard of Bricks.
I know. It's amazing. So we'll be talking about that and, the concentration that is being paid to two drivers in particular.
Yes, because there are not 40 out there.
Apparently there aren't 40. There's only two.
Mm-hmm.
We'll deal with all that. Welcome into it. I'm Steve West, that man right there. Dustin Harmer, how are you?
You know, I'm good, other than the fact it was a little bit of a weird drive-in this morning.
A weird drive-in?
Yeah, from Childersburg to Chelsea. The scene in Days of Thunder where Cole Trickle is going through the top side of the turn, going through the smoke. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like because I couldn't see 2 feet in front of the car. But yeah, I was still doing about 65 miles an hour still going through. Felt pretty good. I was confident.
You were certain that there was no wreck on the other
side? Yeah, Harry
side.
Hogg was right there in my ear telling me it was all clear.
Well, you had fog. John was over there wondering about construction.
Well,
everything
yeah,
good?
That and fog.
And fog.
Oh, you had a double whammy.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only one that didn't have to deal with fog this morning. I don't know what that was all about, but
I only had about a mile or two of it. It was bad.
Okay.
That can be bad.
Yeah. It was thick, but, you know.
Just to let you know, by the way, if you are not familiar with what's going on, AlDOT is working on I-2059 going through downtown Birmingham. They're doing some repaving.
Oh, fun.
This is a temporary fix. The permanent fix will come like 2 years from now, so they say.
And will take 20 years.
At least. Because I-22 took like 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not joking.
Apparently, I missed out on that because when I saw it posted, I was like, oh, cool, that's neat. And everybody's talking about how long it took. I'm like, wait a second. Apparently, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, the final plans for I-22, and I'm talking the final, not just the initial ones when they said, you know what, let's draw some interstates and we'll go Memphis to Birmingham and Birmingham to Atlanta, Birmingham to Nashville, Birmingham to Montgomery and all these kind of things. Not just those lines that said we're going to connect all these cities. I'm talking about the final plans that said I-22, this is how it's going to be routed from Memphis through Mississippi into Alabama all the way to Birmingham. This is the finalized plans, mid-1970s.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. You know, you got to love state construction workers.
But yet we still have a bunch of people who feel like the government has the best options.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, if you're traveling towards the junction, if you're taking like 65 south or north, you can get through no problem. 59, you cannot get off of 65 onto 59 going downtown.
Yeah. So
it's
a mess.
Beware of that. Find alternate routes if you're headed through downtown or to downtown taking I-2059.
Finley Boulevard to Caraway is probably your best bet.
Yeah, or 459 if you are just kind of going through Birmingham to go to other places, be it Tuscaloosa or Anniston or wherever.
And well, if you are stuck in traffic, you got us.
You sit back, relax, and you have us.
Something will move fast.
Sorry,
I was going to say.
Sorry, we didn't get on air in time for you.
180.
Sorry, we didn't get on air in time for you if you had left to the point where you were already stuck in it by the time 7:05 hit.
Yes.
Let's see. All kinds of stuff that we got to get today, and that includes records being set in the NHRA. We'll get to the dirt track and local tracks because we've started to hear from some of the other tracks as well, Sayre most notably. So stay close for all that. But first things first, quick look back at last week. And if you were hoping for a new chase contender in the Xfinity series, well, yeah, whatever. Your hopes were dashed. Winner, not only a multi-time series winner this year, but, well, not even eligible for the series season-ending chase because he's a moonlighter.
Called it.
3 guesses as to who that moonlighter is, and the first 2 don't count.
I don't want Bush.
Yep.
I was going to say his name.
Kyle Busch.
Voldemort.
6th Xfinity Series win of the 2016 season, the 82nd of his record-setting career in the series. Kyle Busch led all but a few laps, claimed the victory over the series regular Eric Jones, who, by the way, is his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate.
You know, I think of it this way: if you're going to be, going for the wins in the series and have that record,
just run for points in it. And
not that, but I think it should only count for those that are full-time series people. I wonder how many wins that would take him down to, like 6 total.
Oh, that's actually an interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how many actually he has wins wise when running the actual series for points wise, but. I don't like the records being broken.
Well,
that way.
and I will say this: you got to realize that this new rule that states that you have to declare your points for a particular series, it's not that old.
No, it's not. It's not that old. But I just don't like
3 years. I think
3 pushing 4.
3, 4. Okay, so he has the all-time record.
Yeah,
even by the old rules, he just doesn't have 82.
Yeah,
or 83 or 80. Whatever it is.
Basically, just stick your own series.
Yeah, anyway. Following Busch and Eric Jones, another Moonlighter, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, and another Moonlighter, Austin Dillon, round out the top 5. Brendan Poole, 6th, trailed by Justin Allgaier, Alex Bowman, Brendan Gaughan, and Elliott Sadler. Your chase contenders remain only as Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, and Elliott Sadler. The rest of your top 12 all in on points. Those include Ty Dillon, Brendan Gaughan, Justin Allgaier, Brendan Poole, Brandon Jones, Darrell Wallace Jr., Ryan Reed, Ryan Sieg, and Blake Cook. Ross Chastain, Jeremy Clements, and Dakota Armstrong are all inside the top 15 in points, but they're outside of the chase right now. Now, if a race is all about Toyota for the Sprint Cup Series, likely that means Joe Gibbs Racing, although Front Row Motorsports has stepped up pretty good.
Yes.
It was pretty much on Sunday, but it was not Kyle Busch that was the star. It was actually teammate Matt Kenseth. Busch did lead more than 120 laps. Furniture Row Racing's Martin Truex Jr. did as well, but neither could close the deal. Kenseth got the lead following a late caution. He pulled away to claim the 38th win of his Sprint Cup Series career. This has an asterisk to it that we will get back to later. In second was Tony Stewart, trailed by Joey Logano, who just edged Kevin Harvick for third at the finish line. And we don't normally think of a whole lot of really, really close racing at New Hampshire, but that was good racing.
It was, and it was clean racing. We saw a couple people putting the nose to the cars a little bit, just kind of moving them out of the way, but nobody was really going out there and just like...
Yeah, nobody pulled a Robbie Gordon from about a decade ago.
Robbie Gordon, wow.
There's a name for you.
Whew.
Pulled that one out of the hat, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, nice clean racing. It worked out pretty well. And Greg Biffle is kind of starting to see a little bit of a rebound here. Something's happened at that number 16 Ford, and they have suddenly started to appear in top 10s and top 5s here.
We kind of got we got taken out this past week.
We got taken out?
We did, because...
in prediction-wise?
Yeah. Matt Nicholson, our guest last week, he picked Greg Biffle, top 5.
Top 5
Where did our guys finish?
Well, my guy wrecked out.
Yeah.
Because of a flat tire.
Yeah, my guy did
He was doing well.
So, yeah, they were all doing well. Thank you, Martin Truex Jr.
Until then. Never mind. 6
My
through 10.
prediction was right on the money.
Which was yours?
Danica did not win.
Oh, well. Yeah, but that's a given, man.
Why don't you please step out a little bit?
That's like predicting that the sun is going to rise.
I made a prediction. It came true. Hello, come on.
You are correct.
You are. That is right. You're
all right. 6th through 10th, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. There's another Roush Fenway car. No new winners on the season, so Kenseth claiming his second win of the 2016 season. You still have 11 qualifiers for the Sprint Cup Series chase. By the way, Tony Stewart's second-place finish moves him up to now 29th in points. He's 3 points ahead of Landon Castle. That's for 30th. And only 6 points out of 28th, so we'll see how that works when he goes to his favorite place, the backyard, that we'll talk about in a minute. Those without a win in the chase, they include Chase Elliott, who, despite having a very bad day in New England, still leads the way for the non-winners inside the chase. Ryan Newman is next, Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., because he missed New Hampshire due to his concussion-like symptoms, dropped from 13th to 16th in points, and he's only 14 points ahead of Trevor Bayne as far as being outside of the chase. That is almost guaranteed for this weekend. Ryan Blaney, Casey Kane, and Kyle Larson are all also inside the top 20, but outside of the chase at this time. We'll get back to the full Dale Earnhardt Jr. thing because it's going to be a couple more weeks, but he is saying that he is starting to feel a little bit better. Getting back to that shortly.
That's what we want to hear.
Verizon IndyCar Series, last race of the weekend. Not a very busy weekend on the racetracks. They took to the very uneven street course in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I say uneven.
Yeah, that's an understatement, Steve.
If you're familiar with I-65, say from the downtown junction to Hoover,
Yeah.
going southbound,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
See, I was thinking more, when I had a feeling of the descriptive side of things, I was thinking I-59.
Which part?
Pretty much any of it. No, no, anything northeast out of the city, heading towards Chattanooga. And all that.
Yes,
that's some
that would
rough
also be good
road up there, and that's the way I was thinking about watching that race.
I mean, just sitting there watching them. I mean, you could sit there and watch the cars bouncing over the uneven ruts and juts.
Yes.
And, good grief!
It looked
amazing to me. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how these guys are actually at speed holding this stuff down, and it's kind of a testament to two things. Number one, Firestone makes some pretty good tires that gripped the road when they were actually in contact with it.
Yes.
And the Verizon IndyCar Series has set up their cars with enough downforce to try and get those Firestone tires down onto the pavement as much as they could.
Pretty much they were just hovercrafting around the track.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
I mean, we're almost to the point where we can actually say we have hovercrafts, and we will have that racing type one day.
And on top of that, you and I were watching at the same time. We were texting back and forth, and
yes.
this was the tape-delayed version, which I found out later.
Oh, was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I did not know that.
Apparently they moved it over to like CNBC. Thanks for letting us know, NBC.
Yeah, they don't let anybody know anything.
No. But anyway, so they put this on a tape-delayed basis. And because I got an email like 20 minutes from what you and I were watching as being the finish, and it's the Verizon IndyCar Series update sent to my email that says, oh, by the way, Will Power won. And I'm like, gee, thanks.
I didn't check my email. I got that same email, but I didn't see it till the next day.
It happened about 20 laps from the finish as it was being shown on the NBC Sports Network.
I didn't even realize that there was a time delay on that because I didn't read it till the next day.
But you and I are sitting there watching, we're texting back and forth, and we're talking about the fact that not only is the road surface uneven, suddenly part of the curbing came undone, and you and I predicted it. This was going to cause a problem with tires, and yes, it did.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Night almighty.
Big time. We both said the same thing. This is going to get bad.
Yeah. And all of that, it turns into a fuel mileage event. Unfortunately for fan favorite Tony Kanaan, he didn't have enough to make it to the end. Will Power, who also had a little bit of luck, found himself safely in the pits when a full course caution hit on lap 58 for Joseph Newgarden's wreck. The leader, Scott Dixon, was shut out of the pits, so Power got track position.
Yes, he did.
Tony Kanaan decided to gamble on more yellow flags, being able to help him save fuel. When it was apparent that the drivers were actually going to behave themselves for the most part, Kanaan tried to build up as big a lead as he could, and it did work out. At one point in time, over second place, he had about a 10-second lead. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. With less than 10 laps to go, he had to pit, relegated him to fourth. Gives Will Power the lead, who rolls on to his 28th career Verizon IndyCar Series win. Rest of your top five is Elio Castroneves, James Hinchcliffe, the aforementioned Kanaan, and Takuma Sato, who we haven't heard too much from this year for AJ Fort Racing. He filled out the top five. Rest of your top 10, Mikhail Elation, Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon, who led 56 of the first 58 laps. Man, was he ticked off. Points leader Simon Pagenaud, Marco Andretti rounded out your top 10. As mentioned, Pagenaud holds your points lead. He's up 47 on Will Power. That's closing up, though. Castroneves is in third, 74 back. Scott Dixon down to fourth, 83 out. Joseph Newgarden drops from second to fifth because of a wreck, and that puts him now 88 points behind the leader. Also in your top 10, Tony Kanaan up to sixth. Alexander Rossi drops to seventh. We'll get back to him in a little bit, too. Apparently, there's talk about him possibly moving back to Formula One. James Hinchcliffe, Charlie Kimball, Carlos Munoz. Round out your top 10. Munoz trails Pagenaud by 139 points with a little bit more than a month to go, which means, I think, 4 total events before the end. That's not a whole lot of time for Munoz, but it is still mathematically possible.
Yeah, that I tell you what, that one part of the race that really kind of really messed me up was I forget who it was that was over there. I think it was in turn 11, just sitting there as the field's coming to the turn. I can't remember who it was. But
one of those was Pagenaud. The other one I can't
Montoya.
remember.
Montoya was coming up.
Yeah.
And it was Pagenaud that was sitting there. And nobody, it didn't even register in anybody's mind that there's a car sitting there. And all of a sudden you see Montoya lift up and then kind of just went into the wall. And I'm like, what the heck happened there? that car was sitting there for like a while before they even got to that corner. I don't understand why they didn't throw a caution or anything.
Or at least a local caution, which they do in IndyCar. Yeah, they didn't throw a full course, which they could have. It's a fairly short course. It was, 1 3/4 miles, give or take.
1 3/4.
They could have thrown a full course caution, but they didn't. I didn't even see a local caution on that.
I saw nothing, and then I just saw Montoya's car going into the wall. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And they're all going full tilt because there's no local caution or anything whatsoever letting them know.
And you and I had talked about this last week. The drivers had mentioned the fact that it was a fairly tight course, not a whole lot of places for you to be able to pass.
Yeah.
Turn 11 was one of those areas where you actually could go too wide into the turn and attempt to make a pass. And that's where Juan Pablo Montoya kind of got crossed up. He finds himself on the outside of that particular turn. Whoa. Here's Simon Pagino.
Boom. Nothing. Can't do
Tire
anything.
barrier. Thank you.
We saw. I tell you what. There was a lot of aggressive at the beginning, especially. I think that was what. I think that was turn 3, turn 2, turn 2 or 3. I forget which one it was. Area. It was right in that area. We saw a lot of wings getting clipped off.
Oh, yeah.
We saw a lot of stuff falling off cars at that turn.
Well, as they always say in racing, and it doesn't matter what form of racing this is, if you can't finish, you can't win.
This is true.
And if you are knocking bits of aero stuff off of your car, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to finish as well as you would like if you finish at all.
Yeah, and you can't win by dragging your pods either from the car.
So in the end, I think, while I understand the desire to get up front or to get as close to the front as you can, as quickly as you can, save your car, people.
Yeah,
save your car.
You kind of need that. That does kind of help.
Let all them up there mess up their cars. You just snake your way through it.
That's right.
And make up about 5 to 10 spots right off the bat.
And hope that Joseph Newgarden is not in your path.
Oh, wow. He was all over the place.
Who, Newgarden?
Yeah, on last weekend.
And
none of it was in a good way.
No, he went from outstanding to completely gone.
Yeah,
this past weekend in Toronto,
it was unreal. I mean, he went from the previous race doing so well, dominating everything, and looking like a world beater. And that's why I kind of chose him. I thought, you know what, this might be the springboard that he needed to kind of set himself up. And he looked strong up until the point where he got over aggressive about a third of the way into the race, and then everything went belly up for him.
It looked more like we talk about it in racing. We talk about it in a lot of sports. How a guy will have a great week and then he'll come out and it's like that horrible week, kind of like a hangover after a stellar performance.
Sure.
That was pretty much Joseph Newgarden at Toronto last week. He had a hangover from Iowa.
Yep. Let's take a quick look here at some of the dirt track and local track racing action here from this past weekend, and then we'll talk about this weekend's racing, which actually started last Wednesday as the Camping World Truck Series took to the dirt.
That's right. Going out to Talladega Short Track this past weekend, they had a special event they started off with on that Saturday night of great racing out there, the Steelhead Stretch Sportsman Championship. Dallas, Georgia racer Chris Fennell in his Rogers Mechanical Contractors MCR Automotive Repair Machine won the 30-lap, $1,000 to win race, completely dominated from start to finish. Second place was Chris Noah. Brandon Brown took third. Matt Dooley nailed fourth, and Dustin Stewart took fifth, who was nursing a broken foot, by the way.
Ow.
Yes. Then the normal every weekend action they had out there. They start off with the Neesmith Crate Division. Josh Adkins and his CRM Motors team took that win. Second place went to Adam Gaulden. Third went to Jamie Boland. Kenny Gaither finished fourth, and fifth went to Steve Kirk. Over to the Super Late Division, defending Super Late Model Champion. We got a chance to see him get his award at the awards ceremony. Tim Rozelle out of Oxford, Alabama, claims his 6th win of the season in his Mike Rogers for Congress sponsored car. Second went to Terry Smith. Third went to Tim Busha. Ryan King and TJ Alford round out the top 5. Over to the Love Stuff Thunder Cars, Justin Angle goes back to victory lane for the 6th time as well this season. Edged out Joseph Champion. Third went to Michael Blakeney. Jared Gray and Scott, and I'm going to mess up his name, but I cannot say it. Magnork round out the top 5. I got to get in touch with late model Mark on that one so when he can call in and help me out. Neesmith Street Stock Division, Steve Pate, yes, I'm saying his name yet again. Collected his 10th win of the season.
It's his kind of year, man.
It is. He is on the ball, but he piloted his May trucking car ahead of Russell Chapman, who claims second. Third went to Shane Layfield. Fourth went to Billy Bryant, and Clint Vaughn came home fifth. And, of course, ending out the night, which you should always stick around to see, the Right Way Auto Sales guys going out there and beating and banging all over the place. Congratulations going out this week to Logan McVeigh, collects his first ever win in his Advantage tire and alignment machine. Curtis Busby finishes out second. Third went to our good friend Garrett Lloyd, Josh Salisbury, and James McAvee. They round out the top 5. So big shout out there to Logan on his first win ever at Talladega Short Track. And that's the Dirt Report.
There you go. Plenty of good stuff this week. We've been hearing from people like Sayre Speedway and Talladega Short Track, obviously. So we're getting out there and we're finding out more and more of these local tracks out there. So if you happen to run at a local track or if you happen to own/operate a local track, please get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Go to Facebook.com/TheFastestHour on Radio or go to Twitter @FastestHour.
Instagram's for pictures, and you can also shoot us an email. We still do have that email thing.
Oh, that's right, too. That old-fashioned email.
Yeah, well, you can find it at the fastest hour in radio at AOL.com. So,
yeah.
But Facebook seems to be the way to go. We've gotten a little bit of people kind of chiming in and stuff, but it'd be great to hear some more stuff.
Let us know what you guys have going on. Sayre
Yeah.
Speedway, we had, let me see, where did it go? Kenneth Hicks checked in with us. Sayre Speedway, as far as their schedule for tonight, is pretty busy. Got a Race for the Cure going on at the South's Action Track. It's the BJ Parker Memorial Race. A good guy, a man who was actually my former boss at the old late lamented Birmingham International Raceway, Larry Langford. Let's see, what do we got here? 75 laps modifieds. You got 30-lap sportsman. You got a 30-lap mini modified, 30-lap street stock, 20 laps modified light, 20-lap buzz race, and a 20-lap renegade. And they're asking everybody to wear pink in order to support the cure for breast cancer and pretty much any kind of cancer that we can bring to attention so that we can get it cured and get it out of here because cancer sucks.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to support. So, Kenneth, keep us updated on what's going on at Sayre. Everything going on with pit gates opening today at 3 o'clock. Mayhem practice starts at about 4:30. Full practice starting at 5, rotating all divisions. Qualifying starts at 6:15. Racing begins at 8 o'clock, and it's not going to be all that expensive. I've been out to Sayre, and it's a lot of fun. It's a real short but very high-banked track.
Oh, okay.
A lot of fun.
Now,
You and I may
is-
need to go out there. If you go out Highway 78, US 78, heading towards Jasper, I'm not talking about getting onto I-22.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, I learned
just
that
stay
one
on,
quick.
Just stay on 78 and about midway between where you would jump on, say, from the I-2059 junction at Arkadelphia Road to Jasper. You'll see the signs to get to Sayre.
Nice.
It's very easy. It's very nice. Been out there again.
It's on my list.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So
we
you
got
and
to
I-
start getting a list together.
Yeah, we really do, because we're going to have to start doing the tour of short tracks.
Yeah, we're going to be busy every Saturday.
Yes, we will be here very, very soon.
Yes.
All right. So with that said, we also want to thank our great sponsors down at Wild Vapors. We understand that they're having a little fun at the beach this weekend.
Yeah, they are down for Vaping the Coast. It's a big convention of vapors in the state of Alabama, so they're down there just kind of going down and meeting everybody, and they do it each year. So they get a chance to go down and see what kind of new products are out there, see what kind of new things are going on. We tell you so much every week about how they're very knowledgeable. That's how they get the information. They go out, they see what's going on, they find out what's going on in the world of vaping. You can find out all the information, too, to help you get off cigarettes, and that's by getting in touch with our good friends Eddie and Shelly Bowman at Wild Vapors in Sylacauga and the Walmart Shopping Center, and in Alexander City, 1 block up from Central Alabama Community College.
They told you that the FDA is coming down with some new regulations. If you want to know what those regulations are, how they may affect the vaping industry, how they may affect you as a person who either is a vapor or a person who is thinking about it and trying to drop off cigarettes, you need to contact Eddie and Shelly. They're going to be able to walk you through this whole process and tell you how this affects them and you.
Yes, and things the way that it affects you. I mean, here's two main things. We talk about it, and the thing is this. Their juices do not have two main things that you do not want to have, and that's sucralose and diacetyl. Those are very bad for you. A lot of juice makers put that in there for taste and flavor and sweetness. They don't do that at Wild Vapors because that stuff is bad for you. That's why they know their stuff. They have researched it. So if you want to go to a place that's going to give you the proper information, it's going to get you vaping the proper way, you need to talk to Wild Vapors. Give them a call today, 256-369-2569. Find them on Facebook as well. They put all their information up about everything that they find out, everything they dig up at facebook.com/wild.vapors.5. But give them a call today. Stop in to see them, 256-369-2569, Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center, 1 block up from Central Alabama Community College. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
And John knows this because John doesn't live anywhere near Sylacauga.
No, he does not.
But John is a regular customer with Wild Vapors. He
Yes.
knows.
I live about 4 hours away from Sylacauga.
But
Yes.
he's still a customer with Wild Vapors because not only will they deal with you over the phone, they will send you the stuff that you need through the mail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can definitely get in touch with them and let them know that you want to get something. You've heard some great products about them. Like I said, give them a call. They'll get you set up. 256-369-2569. John, they squared you away after you broke yours.
That's true.
Yeah, they helped me out a lot.
Yeah, when you don't follow the directions properly.
Didn't hear that here. No, they do a great job down there, and we cannot appreciate them enough. This weekend's racing actually started during the week. Camping World Trek Series running the Aspen Dental Eldora Dirt Derby. Now, there's a handful. After falling a lap behind, most drivers actually don't get much of a chance to visit Victory Lane, but Kyle Larson did. While leading about 1/3 of the way through the only dirt race in NASCAR's top tier of series, Larson suffered a flat right rear tire. The pit stop to change tires put him a lap down, but he was the lead car a lap down when the caution flew a few laps later, and it gave him the free pass. He got back up on the lead lap and just methodically worked his way through the field, grabbed the lead, went on to the win, besting last year's winner, Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell last year didn't even have a NASCAR ride.
No,
he was
nothing.
just a local dirt racer up in that area near Eldora Speedway. That launched him into the Camping World Trek Series. He's a points racer in there this year. So this particular race grabs the attention of a lot of dirt racers, a lot of NASCAR veterans, but a lot of people who you've never heard of who suddenly get launched up onto the NASCAR scene.
Oh, yes.
In third, trailing Larson and Bell, Rico Abreu. Nice run for
Awesome for him.
for the kid.
Yes,
Love it.
awesome.
Jake Griffin, Tyler Reddick round out the top five. Then Cole Custer, Cameron Haley, Daniel Hemrick, Austin Self, and Matt Crafton all inside the top 10. Larson, moonlighter. So no new winners in the series this year, leaving 5 drivers with wins still in the chase of the 8 that will get in. Non-winners inside that top 8, Daniel Hemrick, Timothy Peters, and Tyler Reddick. Ben Kennedy and Cameron Haley are just outside of the chase, but inside of the top 10. As for the weekend proper, today, Xfinity Series runs the Lilly Diabetes 250 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. IMS Radio Network, NBC Sports Network starts 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time. Early Sunday, Formula One gets back into action. The Hungarian Grand Prix runs on the Hungaroring course. Love saying that.
I hate that word.
14 turns, 2.72 miles long. Coverage begins on the NBC Sports Network, 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Central Time qualifying. Then the race follows right after. Sunday, you've got NHRA. That's where we're going to pick this back up because history is about to be set for the National Hot Rod Association. We'll tell you that history when we come back. You are listening to the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101 WIDE.
You're listening to the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Let's talk track. No matter how fast you take those turns or speed through the straightaway, you've got to make sure your engine is taken care of because your health is your engine. You need the healthier alternative to cigarettes. You need Wild Vapors. Wild Vapors is known for their signature formula mixed in an off-site clean room facility for their own brands. They only use the purest vaping juice on the circuit without sucralose or diacetyl. You still get the same satisfaction of smoking without the high health risk of cigarettes. The crew at Wild Vapors knows you're busy on the lead lap and can't always take a pit stop when you need it. That's why they provide you with the best products on the circuit sent directly to you at your garage. That's right, call in your order and they'll send it directly to you. Now that's the type of crew you need for the Brickyard 400. Am I right? So don't be a lug nut short of a full set. Find the healthier alternative to smoking. Make your next pit stop at Wild Vapors of Sylacauga today. 256-369-2569. Find them in the Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Flashlight fail you again? Security system batteries running low? Emergency situations call for immediate action, and you don't have time to be fighting bad batteries in the dark. Interstate Batteries has the highest quality batteries that stand up to the challenge again and again. Get your batteries from Interstate before you find yourself alone in the dark. Call 1-800-CRANK-IT for a dealer near you. Interstate Batteries, the right battery every time.
When you're singled out,
Hey, welcome back in. You are listening to the fastest hour in radio here on Superstation 101 WIDE, and you can be a part of the show. 941-1011, toll free 866-551-9933. Get a hold of us on Facebook, facebook.com/the fastest hour in radio, and all the other ways that I know we mentioned once, but we're going to do it again.
That's right. Twitter at Fastest Hour, Instagram at Fastest Hour, and of course, you can always check out our YouTube channel. That's where you get all of the shows. We update them as soon as I possibly can. YouTube.com. Sure. Look up The Fastest Hour in Radio and click the subscribe button.
That's a good call.
The subscribe button, because you're going to get a weekly email letting you know each and every time we upload a brand new show. All of our old shows are up there that we've been keeping for the past couple of months, so you can always go back and listen. But those are definitely the places you can go.
Absolutely. And if you missed any part of this show or you just want to hear it all over again, tune in tomorrow morning early, 5 a.m. That is Central Time.
Yes.
4 a.m. Eastern Time. No, 6 a.m. Eastern
6 a.m.
Time. I got to look at
4
it.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. if you're in the Rockies.
In the Mountain Time.
At the Mopar
3
Mile High
a.m.
Nationals.
3 a.m. if you're West Coast.
Yeah.
And if you're in Japan, we'll ask Joe Lockett.
That's right. Because I'm sure he can count it in
He can tell
Japanese.
us. Exactly.
He'll probably call in now. But anyway, yeah, so make sure that you check us out tomorrow, or if you just want to hear it all over again.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Tomorrow, history will be set. National Hot Rod Association, the NHRA, back into action. They head to the Rockies, the Mopar Mile High Nationals. That's Bandimere Speedway just outside of Denver. Finals coverage is not going to be on Fox Sports 1. It's not going to be on Fox Sports 2. It's not going to be on FX or FXX.
It's going to be on the Ocho.
It's on the major network. They're putting it on Fox.
I thought it was going to be the Ocho.
This is the first time in the NHRA's history they have been on broadcast television.
Really?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
They've been on cable. They've been on delay. They've been live on Fox Sports 1. They have never been on an ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CW. Never. This is a first.
I got one thing to say. It's about time.
No kidding. I love ESPN missed out, obviously, because we've already talked about this, how the total viewers has gone from anywhere from 2 to 4 times the number of people that were checking it out last year when it was on ESPN, when they didn't have the foresight and all they were doing was taping the finals and replaying them at like 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Fox Sports has decided, in this case, the Fox Network, has decided to run them live. And again, we're seeing 2, 3, and 4 times the number of viewers out there. People are responding, and it's at the point where Fox has said, you know what? We're going to put them on the main network. Congratulations.
Took them long enough.
Finals coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time, and then right after that, Sprint Cup Series will take on the hallowed Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400, also known as the Crown Royal presents the Combat Wounded Coalition Brickyard 400. IMS Radio Network and Fox apparently is their lessons are not being learned by the folks over at NBC.
No.
You think of crown jewels within racing.
Yes.
Daytona 500.
Yes.
Indianapolis 500.
Mm-hmm.
Monaco. Monaco is probably the most prestigious race in Formula One.
Yes. Indianapolis 500.
Second biggest crown jewel in NASCAR. What would you consider it to be?
The second biggest?
Yes. Behind the Daytona 500, the race that the vast majority of Cup Series drivers want to win.
I would say a Southern 500.
Okay. What would you place third?
Third? A Bristol win?
You think?
I would think.
I'm going Brickyard.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, Brickyard, then Bristol.
Okay.
I don't know. I like Bristol.
I understand that. And I understand the Bristol night race, and I understand the prestige of it.
Yeah,
but if you're looking top 2 or top 3, depending on who the driver is that you're talking about, the Brickyard is right after the Daytona 500.
Well, I mean, there's so much like pomp and circumstance after the win. You get to kiss the bricks.
Yeah.
You know, the entire team. It's like a big family event. The family, the wife, the kids, the dog, everything is there.
You get to say that you are now a winner at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what series you're in. You get to say you're a winner at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Top 2 or 3 races in the entire NASCAR year. And the NBC Sports Network is the one carrying it, not NBC. I do not understand what's going on at the Peacock Network. Apparently, they got pecked in the head too many times.
Yeah, you know, they're worried about flashing their feathers.
2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central Time. It's absolutely unbelievable. The race time, by the way, is about an hour after coverage begins on television. Just to let you know.
What?
Yeah. I'm just telling you when coverage starts. I'm not telling you when the race starts.
Oh, wow. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
We had someone reach out to us, another schedule coming up for today, as a matter of fact.
Sure.
For ECM Speedway. That's the Eric Cates Memorial Speedway.
Yeah.
Kenneth Hicks hit us up and let us know they're going to be racing tonight. 604 Street Stock Limited, 602 LMS, Pure Street, Pure Pony, and Buzz divisions. Gates open at 3:30. Drivers meeting at 6:30. Heat races start at 7:15. So going out and support them. That's up in Bremen, Alabama.
Yeah.
So there's another one. Thank you so much to Kenneth Hicks for getting us that information.
Kenneth is going to be the main contact for us
He
when it comes
is.
to local racing.
Kenneth
I can tell.
is the man.
We appreciate you so much, Kenneth. All right, off the track news here. I mentioned before Matt Kenseth win came with a small asterisk. Following last Sunday's race at New Hampshire, the number 20 car of Matt Kenseth was found to be outside of NASCAR regulations. It failed post-race laser inspection. Laser. It's an inspection, by the way, that does check several things: tire camber angle, axle housing, alignment, rocker panels, the mainframe rail, all that kind of good stuff. NASCAR, by the way, also impounded his car. They took it to the Research and Development Center in Charlotte because they wanted to take a closer look at the car.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Now, they will do an impound usually of the top 3 cars, the winner, second place,
and
especially if it's a different make.
Yeah,
and they're going to try and get the top finisher or one of the top finishers from each of the 3 different makes in NASCAR, which is Toyota, Chevy, and Ford, obviously.
Yeah.
So they took Tony Stewart's car, but they've already given it back from what I understand. And I think they took Greg Biffle's car, but I'm not 100% certain. It was either his or Joey Logano's. But for some reason, I think it was Greg Biffle's.
I believe it was Biffle's car. Yes.
And they've already given that back.
Well, Roush Fenway doesn't really do so good, so if they do good, let's take a look at this car and see what they're doing.
But guess what?
Right.
That number 20 Toyota Camry of Matt Kenseth, that's going to be staying at the Research and Development Center for a while.
Yeah, just a little bit of time.
Nobody from Joe Gibbs Racing commented on the initial findings. And then NASCAR came down with the penalty.
Uh-oh, here we go.
What did I do with it?
I'm just worried about the consistency because they haven't really been too consistent, but they have here recently. So have they?
Following the race last Sunday, the 20 failing laser inspection test that checks things like tire camber, rocker panels, and more fined 15 driver points. Joe Gibbs Racing lost 15 team owners points. Crew chief Jason Ratcliffe was fined $25,000. Kenseth, of course, will keep credit for the win because that has been NASCAR's way of doing things now for, 30, 40 years?
Something like that.
I can't remember last time they stripped a win because of something that happened on the track.
It's not going to.
Yeah, they really don't.
And that was all over Facebook and everything. They're always talking about that. It's all over social media. People got to get over it.
I'm a Tony Stewart fan,
Yeah.
okay? I would love nothing more than to see Tony Stewart get another win.
His second win.
Yeah, but you know what? I knew that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, we all know it's going to happen.
NASCAR set precedent a long time ago. They're not going to strip a win once they've handed it out. P3 level penalty in NASCAR system. Here's my biggest problem I think that I have with this.
Okay.
I think if you're going to find a penalty like this, we already knew Matt Kenseth was in the chase.
Yes.
Go ahead and give him the credit for the win. Do not give him the bonus points inside the chase for said win, and that is a little bit further of a deterrent.
I agree with that. That was actually an idea that came across social media as well. Was okay, that's fine. Don't take the win, but take those bonus points.
Take the bonus points away.
Make
I think
that
that's
as part
a good
of
call.
it. Especially if you're running for the chase and you win and everything, you lose those points if you do it the wrong way.
So NASCAR, take note.
Yeah, listen to us.
Fastest hour in radio is
We
all
got
on board
this.
with that idea.
We're good.
Any person with the nickname Happy, a guy that you know quite well,
Yes,
who brings this car home with a top 5 finish in the most recent event, you'd think would indeed be happy.
Not always.
Not so much when Kevin Harvick.
That's right.
Harvick, following the 4th place result at New Hampshire, as we mentioned earlier on, told reporters, quote, "I'm disgusted, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
It's the same thing every week. We just make mistake after mistake, and until we clean that up, we don't have a chance to win races by putting ourselves in a hole every time we make a mistake." More than once last Sunday, Kevin Harvick was losing spots on pit road following a mistake or two that had been made during a pit stop, which cost him positions. He said that he has to make them up on the track. Finishing with the top 5 result told Harvick that he had a fast racer, but he couldn't overcome the lost spots on pit road, and it led him to say, quote, "It sucks because our cars are plenty fast." He continued by saying, quote, "We're just not executing. We just have to perform better. We under-execute as a team on a weekly basis. We've got to do a better job. Jimmy John's Chevrolet cars are always fast, but we always do something wrong." Now, Harvick is in the chase at this time via his win at Phoenix early in the season. He says he knows that it means he could add to his 2014 championship, but he knows something is going to have to change. He thinks it may have to come from the top, and he means higher than Crew Chief Rodney Childers, which would mean to me the man who is the director of racing operations for Stewart-Haas Racing, Greg Zipadelli.
Yeah.
You had an idea about what to do. Here's the odd thing about this. Tony Stewart did quite well. Kurt Busch did pretty well. Won't worry about Danica Patrick. That's another story entirely.
Yeah, because
those 3 cars, the 4, the 14, and the 41, they all seem to be performing overall well.
Yes.
Tony Stewart's second place. Kurt Busch has been consistently top 10, top 15. He was top 15, top 20 at New Hampshire last weekend, just outside the top 10. I haven't seen anything that is outside of human error, and I understand Kevin Harvick's exasperation with it because, quite frankly, he probably had a car that should have won.
He had a car.
All things considered.
He had a car.
Everything else being equal, he probably should have been battling Tony Stewart for second, if not Matt Kenseth for the win. But mistakes are going to happen. You thought, though, that maybe crew chief or pit crew chief needed to be...
Well, not the
switched?
The
coach, I mean?
The training coach. Each of the teams has their own training coach. So we've already seen them move over the pit crew from the 14 to the 4. We saw that
happened
last
during
year.
the 2014 season.
That happened during the 2014 season. They went on to win the championship.
Right.
They had issues last year. They moved a couple people around, brought some people in and stuff like that. After Tony had his accident, he was out. They moved some of the members over to the 4 team. The problem is this: each and every week there's a problem. And if you're not getting the proper training, so to speak, maybe. Sure. I mean, these guys know what they're supposed to be doing, but when you're continuing to have issues like this, and I can see why Kevin was mad. This is why Kevin's mad.
Okay.
This is the 4th trip to New Hampshire Motor Speedway where he could have been contending for a win. 3 times before, he was running for the win and ran out of fuel. New Hampshire Motor Speedway is not kind to Kevin Harvick.
Right.
He's always dominated. He's always done well, but he just can't get to the end. And then this time, they have the car. They know they have the car, but they keep losing those vital spots on pit road because it was extremely hard to pass. You almost had to use up your car the whole time.
Sure.
So they need to find a way to do something. I say if it's not working out properly, it's time to bring in a new trainer of that actual pit crew. It's time to bring the cohesion in and get everybody on the same track.
Yeah, and now they know what it is that they need to work on. They know that they've got a good car. This is a car that will come back later this year because New Hampshire is the second race in the chase.
And that car will be back. That chassis
So that race will be back. The chassis will be back. Everything is going to be fine, but he's looking for a little bit more out of the folks on pit road because he wants to advance. And I understand everybody does, but we understand that Kevin Harvick has the car.
Yeah.
That can advance.
Well, and that's the thing. He's so used to being over. We've seen him do so exceptionally well with Stewart-Haas Racing because we knew that this was going to take place. We knew he was going to get into some great equipment and he was going to excel. And that's what we knew was going to happen out of Kevin Harvick. Coming out of RCR, not getting the crew, not getting the cars and everything else, but now he's hungry. He is hungrier than I've ever seen Kevin Harvick before on a weekly basis. And he knows he's got the car underneath of him, but he's got to have that support on pit road, especially when you go to a lot of these tracks where you have to have that mentality of being so focused on the track that you cannot let that pit crew issue affect your driving. That's what it's going to start doing. It's going to start messing with his brain as he's trying to hit those marks and everything else. That's when you start to have total meltdown. They've got to do something at Stewart-Haas Racing. Zippy's got to do something.
Haven't heard anything yet. We'll keep an eye on it. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s announcement last week that he was suffering from concussion-like symptoms caused him to miss last weekend's race at New Hampshire. Earlier on this week said may cause him to miss this year's chase. But it's also inspired others. NASCAR Hall of Famer Fred Lorenzen said that he is going to donate his brain to science whenever he passes away. And unfortunately, it seems sooner rather than later, and I hate to say that. Currently, Lorenzen is in an assisted living facility in Chicago, Illinois. He's battling dementia, but he was aware enough to talk to his family, including his daughter, Amanda Lorenzen Gardstrom, to get the process for donation underway. She made it official in an interview with the Associated Press over last weekend. Said, quote, "As a family, we decided we wanted to support Dale Jr. and work together towards a healthy future for these drivers." Gardstrom said that due to a series of rough accidents back in the 1960s when he was driving, that Fred currently suffers from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. Something we've talked a whole lot about when it comes to National Football League players.
Yes. She
adds that her father, who is the 1965 Daytona 500 winner, quote, "never stopped to heal," unquote. we never knew about this stuff back in the 1960s, 70s,
we didn't.
80s. We really didn't even think about it much in the 1990s. It's really been about, past decade, 15 years that we have really started to look into concussions and the after effects of them.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where we really never knew what was going on. There wasn't anything technological-wise that we could actually assess that and see it and everything else. Now it's progressing forward. Now we're seeing... That could explain a lot of things from the past.
Could.
So many things.
It really could.
But we can't tell now because they're gone and everything else.
Yeah. And that's why Dale Jr. and now Fred Lorenzen, we're seeing a number of football players doing it. Some baseball players are also doing it. And this is tough. I remember playing baseball when I was a kid. I sucked, so don't think that I'm, trying to tout myself. I was horrible. But when I played Little League and, you see a fastball coming towards your head, you duck, but it could hit the helmet. And here's the thing. If the fastball is hard enough, not necessarily at Little League, but you look at some of the guys that are throwing. I was watching highlights last night. New York Yankees have that closer, Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
He hit 103 on the radar.
Yeah, imagine
on a
that to your
pitch.
head. Yeah.
And then imagine that hitting a batting helmet.
Well, look back. Look back. The NFL, the early days of the NFL. They were just leather helmets.
Yeah.
Look at
and then a few years later, while it was a plastic helmet, it had no face mask.
Yeah, that. Look at back in the day when Little League, before they had helmets, they just had those ear protector things that went over the top of the head.
Yeah.
How many countless people were injured playing?
Now put yourself into racing.
Yep,
okay.
now,
if you've ever gone out, and I suggest that you do because it's a really cool spot, go out to the International Motorsports Hall of Fame just on the grounds at Talladega Superspeedway. You go out there and you'll see not only modern racers, because they have a few of them out there, but you'll see some of the older cars. It's been a while since I've been there. I need to re-go through there. But the last time I was out there, they had one of the cars that Darrell Waltrip called Bertha. And Bertha was one of his favorite cars. It was an old Chevy Monte Carlo from the late 70s. And effectively, it was the Chevy Monte Carlo that you pulled off the showroom lot. It had the bench seat.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were running bucket seats that had no head support.
Yeah, they were just going out there and doing their thing.
Yeah,
man.
They were putting on a regular seat belt. They weren't putting on this 5- and 6-point harness system. And then you get into a wreck and you get bounced around all over the place. No wonder these guys, who knows how many
They were
people.
driving.
Darrell Waltrip himself, Richard Petty, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, and all these guys. They probably suffered concussions that they never even knew about.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing because now you look back and you're looking later in life, you might be having issues and you're like, that makes sense now. And then you go get checked and the whole time you didn't know it, but now it's too late.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we don't want.
Love to see this, and I love that Dale Jr. stepping up and he's taking himself out of it. In fact, not only did he take himself out of last weekend, he's going to miss the next 2 weeks with concussion-like symptoms. Jeff Gordon has been pulled out of mothballs, or the Fox Sports booth, to take over the number 88 Chevrolet SS. That's going to be so weird for both races. I'm so used to talking about Jeff Gordon in the 24.
I'm waiting for the Gordon fans to start calling up and you talking about pulling him out of the mothballs.
Jeff Gordon, yeah, go ahead. Jeff Gordon himself said it was going to be hard for him not to pull into the number 24 garage stall this weekend because he's so used to that.
It was so weird hearing them say driving the they would all take a pause because they were like, I'm about to say 24.
Yeah, number 88, Jeff Gordon. Earnhardt will miss this weekend's event at Indianapolis. He will miss next weekend's Pocono race. Team owner Rick Hendrick is, in a fantastic bit of understatement, said of Gordon's return, quote, I think Jeff will do well. He's won that race a lot of times. Yeah, he's won 5 Brickyard 400s among his 93 career wins. As for Earnhardt, he made a recording this past week, says he's still suffering from nausea and balance problems, and at the request of both Hendrick Motorsports and the doctors at the Pittsburgh Medical Center's Sports Medicine Concussion Program, he will be at home. He will not even travel to either Indy or Pocono to be a spectator. It also means an almost assured falling out of the top 16 in points for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who only has a 14-point edge over Trevor Bayne in 17th. That said, Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back a couple of weeks from now, and he's only got a couple of weeks to do it to get himself either a win or back inside the top 16.
Yeah.
But I cannot see where NASCAR would not give him that medical waiver that says if you win and or are inside the top 16, we're going to let you in the chase.
Their hand is almost forced at this point. I mean, you're talking about possibly taking Dale Jr. out of the chase.
I don't see how you could do it if he qualifies.
If he qualifies.
You know,
he's got to get the waiver.
We'll give you the medical waiver, but you have to do what you need to do on the track, either by getting a win or getting inside the top 16.
Yes, and it's going to happen. So.
Okay. We were talking a lot about Stewart Haas Racing and some of the thoughts there. David from Warrior checking in. You got thoughts on what Stewart Haas Racing might need to do?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
First off, about the head injuries, you were definitely right about Darrell Waltrip. I grew up in Nashville and got to see him at the fairgrounds, and the whole 9 yards. Where do you think boogity come from if he had severe head injury?
I like that.
Gotcha.
Who's going to be leading up the Ford engine department with Haas?
Right now, the first year or two, they're going to be getting their engines from Roush Yates, and then they're going to start moving and building their own. They haven't said who they're going to get to head their engine department once they finally get everything set up, though.
Yeah, I think later in the year they'll disclose a little bit more. Right now, they're just trying to concentrate on their affiliation with Chevy, and we're going to hear a lot more information as the season winds
Ford
down.
effectively laid out the red carpet.
Todd or Doug are they looking to get Todd from over there or?
That's a possibility. They may end up looking at a couple of different engine builders because they've got some really good ones at Joe Gibbs Racing, and it wouldn't surprise me if he tries, because he's done it before, if he tries to poach some of those guys to begin his own engine department over there. But Ford has effectively laid out the red carpet for him. They're doing everything that they can to get him the proper chassis and everything like that. And they said, hey, listen, we'll give you the engines if you want to start up your engine program, which he said, yes, I do. He said, we'll give you the engines for the first year out of Roush Yates, and then we'll help you build your own engine program. I would be shocked if he didn't grab some guys from Joe Gibbs Racing. I really would.
Well, Ford's definitely laid out the red carpet because you got some bow tie brand.
Oh yeah,
I'm just shocked to watch them go over there. Well, you're right about the Joe Gibbs, and I believe that they're going to get their second Indy, and I believe it's going to come from Matt Kenseth.
Oh. Nice prediction. I like it, David. Thank you so much.
You'll have a good weekend, and it's going to be hot, so it's lots of motion.
Yeah, exactly. Stay cool. Sit back, watch some racing, and enjoy it. Thank you, David.
Take care, David.
And then we get the guy that we know so well from Talladega Short Track. He's the man. He's somewhat of a myth.
Bring in the chips!
He's certainly a big-time legend. It's the one, the only, Late Model Mark. How are you?
Hear ye, my subjects.
Chip ye.
At least he didn't start off with friends, Romans, and countrymen.
Right. It's good to talk to you, Late Model Steve, Street Stock Dustin, and Hot Shot John.
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
Oh, I'm getting a bumper sticker.
That's a good one. Thank you once again for the excellent dirt report. I'm up in the northern regions of the state here this morning, and I listened to the dirt report, and I'm glad you guys are branching out to other speedways and talking about them, not just our fantastic track, but the other tracks. So my kudos and compliments, and
we're growing.
I really appreciate it. And hey, Dustin, I know you were having troubles pronouncing Scott. Now, I got it wrong, too, so don't feel bad.
Okay, I feel better now.
I was corrected by his fans. His last name is McGuirk.
McGuirk. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, McGuirk.
Yeah, I butchered his name, and I butchered Jeremy Isbell's name. I was calling him Isbell. I got corrected about 20 times, so it's McGuirk and Isbell,
all right.
even though it's spelled Isbell. But
I appreciate that. I was waiting for you to call and fix me on that because I was like, I need help. Where's Mark?
Man, I had major league problems with that one, but I'm over the hill now. But I wanted to mention, I thought Wednesday night's truck show was the best one I've seen at Eldora. And one of the reasons, in my opinion, is Tony Stewart decided not to let the track go dry slick and get shined over. He put moisture on it. He kept working it. I mean,
he did an outstanding job.
Yeah. That was excellent. The heat races were good. And what do you think of my boy Stuart Friesen qualifying well in his first time in a truck? Not too shabby, huh?
Kid's looking good, man. Kid's looking good.
And, of course, Bobby Pierce had a good run. And another one you guys probably are not too familiar about is Lebanon Valley Speedway Big Block Modified Hot Shoe, J.R. Hefner. I mean, he ran okay, and none of those guys got the finishes that they expected, but Bobby Pierce is a bad hombre, and I thought the main event was great. And one thing as far as, like, on dirt at Eldora, I would really wish they would lose the lucky dog free pass nonsense. I mean, it is a dirt track. That's the only time that happens. To me, that's nonsense, but that's just my opinion on it. But
gotcha.
I thought it was a great show, and well, I mean, what did you guys think of the racing?
Really enjoyed it, and I agree with you. And read an interview that Tony Stewart had done. I want to say it was yesterday, so Friday, and he was talking about how it was such an unknown in its first year that he kept it probably a little bit too dry, and he admitted it. And he said that as they've gone on, they keep wetting down the track more. He says now it feels much more like actual dirt racing. So yeah, I think we're starting to get to that point where Tony realizes, hey, listen, while they're NASCAR trucks, this is still dirt. Let's go ahead and make it run.
Yeah.
Amen. They took a lot of flack. I mean, a major league amount of flack on various internet sites for last Saturday night's Kings Royale sprint car race with the World of Outlaws. It was so dusty that you could barely see the cars in the main event. It was a pretty decent race, but it was extremely, and I'm not kidding you guys, it was extremely dusty. You can see the highlights on YouTube, and it's like, my gosh. And I had some friends up there that went to that race, and they could barely see turns 3 from where they were in the main grandstands. Yeah, I know the wings kick up a lot of dust in sprints, but they took a lot of flack for that. So I don't think Tony wanted to see a dust bowl once again. So
let me ask this, and this is the continuing education of us when it comes to dirt track racing. What are your options when it comes to throughout the course of an evening? Does it make any difference, or is it against track rules to, for example, try and wet down the track between main events? That's kind of I don't know.
Oh, sure, you can do it. One of the big things, guys, is what kind of dirt you got. Versus is it the Midwest black clay, the West Coast farming dirt, or the red clay we have in the South? Now, here in the South, you have to be very careful if you try to re-water it. Usually a tail digger, if we ever do, which is rare, you'll just sprinkle the top groove with the cushion. Because if you wet the red clay too much, you'll actually lose the racetrack no matter how dry it is, because it gets really greasy. Yeah. Now, up in the Midwest, like at the Boone IMCA Super Nationals, they do what they call farming. They get all these implements out here. They can rework the track, water it, and pack it in 15 minutes. It's an amazing thing. Wow. You ever watch track farming on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I'll look it up.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do. Out on the West Coast, you could soak the hell out of it, pack it in, and bring the track back. But you got to be very careful with the dirt here in the South. Now, Tony, he's got all these implements where when you dig it up and you get the moisture into the surface, and then you pack it down, you can continually water on it. It all depends what region you're in and what kind of dirt you got. That is a really, really big thing. But tonight, Talladega, of course, regular program, gates 5, hot laps at 7:15, qualifying at 8. But I want to give you guys a heads up.
Yeah.
Next Saturday night, we have Ace Hardware Oxford Lumber Night, and we have what looks to be like a professional yard sale in the tower of stuff that they bring to give away. I'm not kidding you. They'll have tools, wrench sets, lanterns, all the hardware stuff. And one of the big price things is, besides T-shirts and hats, is they'll bring me up about $20 to $25 gift certificates.
Nice.
For Ace Hardware to give away.
Cool. So, gates open what time tonight?
Gates open at 5 p.m., hot laps at 7, super late model qualifying about 8 o'clock, $10 to get in. Kids 9 and under free, rock and roll. I got to get back to work, gentlemen. Great show. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Mark.
I can see that you like to work hard. The powerhouse that you are is well equipped and ready to tackle the day like a quarterback sack. And everything you use needs to work hard to keep up with you. You don't have time to waste on weak batteries that don't do their job. Interstate Batteries has the best quality batteries for everything you use at the office. Small or large, Interstate Batteries has it all. Call 1-800-CRANK-IT for a dealer near you. That's 1-800-CRANK-IT. Interstate Batteries, the right battery every time.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Let's talk track. No matter how fast you take those turns or speed through the straightaway, you've got to make sure your engine is taken care of, because your health is your engine. You need the healthier alternative to cigarettes. You need Wild Vapors. Wild Vapors is known for their signature formula mixed in an off-site clean room facility for their own brands. They only use the purest vaping juice on the circuit without sucralose or diacetyl. You still get the same satisfaction of smoking without the high health risk of cigarettes. The crew at Wild Vapors knows knows you're busy on the lead lap and can't always take a pit stop when you need it. That's why they provide you with the best products on the circuit sent directly to you at your garage. That's right, call in your order and they'll send it directly to you. Now that's the type of crew you need for the Brickyard 400. Am I right? So don't be a lug nut short of a full set. Find the healthier alternative to smoking. Make your next pit stop at Wild Vapors of Sylacauga today. 256-369-2569. Find them in the Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Hey, welcome back in. Wow. We're already down to the final third of the show.
Oh my gosh, we are.
Time flies, man.
When
After all, we are the fastest hour and a half in radio. Sorry, couldn't resist.
He almost did that like under his breath.
I know. All right, let's get back to the news here. Fan injured when debris flew off of Austin Dillon's number 3 and hit him, injuring him, is suing NASCAR. William Fulton of Florida filed suit in Volusia County, Florida court, claiming that he has not fully recovered from the incident that took place during the July 2015 Coke Zero, now what we call Firecracker, Coke Zero Firecracker 400.
That's us.
That's
we
us.
call it.
That's not NASCAR. That's us. In the suit, he claims that he has not fully recovered from the flying debris that hit him while he was sitting in the 6th row of the grandstands. He is not specifying what injuries he suffered, nor is there a specified amount of money he's seeking in compensation. The incident itself is a 3-car incident that launched Dillon up into the catch fence, where the fencing ripped the car apart and sent debris up into the stands. Upon landing on the track upside down, Dillon's car was then hit again by Brad Keselowski. None of the drivers were injured, but 5 fans were treated. One was taken to the local hospital, Halifax Medical Center. This is the first lawsuit filed in connection with this crash, but the statute of limitations for filing for this incident is actually 4 years from when the incident happened, according to Florida law. We saw this.
We've already been down this road.
We've seen this before. I want to say, was it 12 in the Xfinity series? Back then, the Nationwide series, I think it was, when Kyle Larson's car got ripped apart and the engine found itself into the grandstands. I can't remember whether it was 12 or 13.
I believe that was 12. No, that was 13.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was down here.
So we've already seen suits filed in that, and they were summarily ushered out of the court.
Yes.
So I don't know whether this will change. I doubt it, because precedent has been set. I don't know what this guy may or may not be bringing that the other people had brought. So,
well, we talked about this, and we talked about it before, and we'll just say it again. You know the possibility of what could take place when you go to a place where cars are going 200 plus miles an hour,
and you're sitting in the 6th row.
And you're sitting in the 6th row because you want to
chain link fence
down there. If you don't want something to happen to you, go up high.
Sure.
Yeah. You never know. Up in the it's controlled chaos, and chaos. It's going to happen. You almost, and I think you said it best on the show when we were talking about with the Kyle Larson incident at Daytona, was the fact that you're accepting the possible ramifications of going to a track when you purchase the ticket.
The year that I was a public address announcer for the Barons, and every time I've ever been to a baseball game ever since then, I've always heard of, hey, if you are sitting outside of the area behind the backstop where the fencing is located, please be aware of potential of foul balls flying your way.
Yes.
And quite frankly, bats as well. Every single baseball stadium, from minor league, rookie league ball, single A, double A, triple A, and Major League Baseball, they all say, hey, listen, you're coming here to the ballpark. You take it upon yourself to make sure that you're paying attention so that you don't get hit by a foul ball or possibly somebody let go of a bat. Basketball, you've got everybody that's sitting that close. How many times have we seen a player dive into the stands?
Yes.
Hockey, they've changed some things around and put some netting up all over the place. But before that, hey, there could be a puck in your teeth at any point in time.
Yeah, the fans look like the players.
You have to take responsibility for yourself. You weren't there for it because this was a little bit before the time that you came to Talladega, but you've seen the replays many, many times. Brad Keselowski's first Cup win when he was in the old 09.
And he dumped Carl Edwards.
And he dumped Carl Edwards, but not only did he dump Carl Edwards, he also launched Carl Edwards up into the catch fence at Talladega from the tri-oval going the short chute to the finish line.
Yeah.
I heard nobody suing NASCAR or Talladega because of that.
And
Not
you know what?
one person.
Carl Edwards himself, I remember the story after that was the fact that Carl Edwards took some of those fans that were injured and brought them down into the garage, had them all down in there with the team and everything else, spending time with them, making sure that they're okay and everything. That's the kind of stuff that we're used to. Yeah. But funny story was I was at Aberdeen when I was living up in Maryland. My son Nicholas and I went to an Aberdeen Ironbirds game.
Okay.
And I had been given some awesome seats up in the upper deck, the VIP boxes.
Yeah.
And we were coming out from going to grab popcorn or whatever he wanted to buy. I can't remember. He was hungry. So we were coming out, and a ball was nailed from home plate, and it came right at my head.
Sure.
What's my instinct? My instinct was to shove Nick out of the way. Yes, he lost his popcorn. I got him more. But my second instinct was to, move to the left. The ball bounced right there and back out. You have to be paying attention.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you are. I knew that. I was prepared for that. But even though I had hands full and everything else, I still was aware of the surroundings. And you have got to be aware of what's going on around you at all times.
And also, read the fine print on your tickets. Just about every single ticket at every major sporting event says you're taking responsibility for your safety when you enter the arena, facility, track, whatever.
Balls, bats. You got to be ready for that. Tires, engines.
We pray that an engine doesn't land in your lap because that'd be a little heavy, but still.
Such.
You are taking responsibility for yourself by going and accepting the ticket to go into said sporting event.
And that's why I said, if you're worried about being down low and something possibly taking place, go up high where you can see the whole track.
There you go. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family and friends of one Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle lost his father this past week. Tuesday morning, Biffle posted on his personal Twitter account, quote, "My father/veteran Garland Jack Biffle passed away this morning at 10:32 a.m. He taught me so much in life, and I will miss him greatly. Rest in peace indeed."
Thoughts and prayers.
John West Townley, suffering from a possible concussion himself, forced to sit out this past weekend's event at Eldora Speedway. Brady Boswell took Townley's place at the wheel of the 05 Chevy Silverado. Parker Kligerman took Townley's place in last night's ARCA race at Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis. It's a concussion that took place during the now infamous Gateway Motorsports Park race, where Townley was wrecked twice, then got into the wrestling match/quasi-fight/dance party with Spencer Gallagher. Townley will be reevaluated on Monday, says he hopes to be cleared in order to race next weekend. For those of you who knew of, but didn't know when, the Verizon IndyCar Series drivers would be making their appearance on the game show Celebrity Family Feud, we can now let you in. Will Power, Tony Kanaan, James Hinchcliffe, Connor Daly, and all of them, led by team captain Elio Castroneves, will be taking on a group of 5 Sports Illustrated swimsuit models on an episode that will air Sunday evening, July 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC with hosts, comedian Steve Harvey.
I'm hoping the girls win.
It may happen.
Because that would be funny.
The Verizon IndyCar Series drivers, as all celebrity teams do, play for a designated charity. In this case, for the drivers, it's the Indy Family Foundation. It's a fund intended to aid those who are in the motorsports community, regardless of which series they are in, that are in financial hardship due to either illness, a death in the family, or injury. The episode was actually taped, according to Hinchcliffe, quote, months ago, unquote, but he said that he has not seen the final product and is excited to see how it presents when it is aired. He did not let us know who won.
No?
It'd be kind of fun to watch. I think I might actually check that out.
You're going to check it out?
I kind of, I saw a little bit of it last week. They had some of the old retired boxers taking on each other. They had 2 teams of old retired boxers actually taking each other on.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting to watch. It's not the most terribly challenging game, just to let you know, Family Feud, but it can be fun from time to time, so I'll probably check this out.
Yeah, they have some pretty good blooper reels from that too. I shared one last night on Facebook, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, there's pretty good bloopers there. Alexander Rossi, who is currently top 10 in championship points this year in the Verizon IndyCar Series, and because of that Indy 500 win earlier this year, says that he has opened some eyes in his former racing series, Formula One. Says an opportunity for him may arise sooner rather than later and may cause him to have to choose. The California-born driver ran 5 of the final 6 races for Manor Marussia Racing in 2015 before he lost that ride to Rio Haryanto. Haryanto had sponsorship from his home country of Indonesia, or so it was thought. Haryanto's sponsorship monies have dried up, and he is only cleared to run through this weekend's Grand Prix of Hungary, and then something is going to have to be decided. Rossi admits he has had discussions with Manor about that seat, says he is, quote, definitely deciding between Formula One and IndyCar, unquote, and added this, quote, there are things about Formula One that I miss. That's what I grew accustomed to in the last 6 years of my life. As for Andretti Autosport, no one at the organization has commented, and that's I respect that on the part of Andretti Autosport. They got to let the driver do what he's going to do.
Yes.
But Alexander Rossi signed a commitment to Andretti Autosport, and I understand you want to get back to Formula One. But you know what? You signed a commitment. You got a little bit more than a month to go in your year for the Verizon IndyCar Series, where you do actually have, mathematically at least, a chance to win the championship. You're certainly almost a shoo-in to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Finish out the year, and with all due respect to Manor, if they really want you, they're going to get you that seat.
Yeah, I would rather him stay in IndyCar. I mean, I know he wants to get back to Formula One, but look, he won the Indy 500 this year.
You want to go back to Formula One, do it after the IndyCar season is over, and do it next year.
Yeah, but finish out the season. But I don't want to see him go back to Formula One. I really don't. I don't want him to go.
I hate to say it. I think he's gone.
I know.
I will say this, though. I will lose some respect for him if he leaves the IndyCar season before it's done.
You better believe it.
I got no problem with him being in Formula One. I think it's great to have an American Formula One driving.
It is.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But number one, he's going to Manor. We've talked about their problems. We'll talk about them again coming up here a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Because they're continuing to try and fix their problems.
But
I understand his desire to be at the quote-unquote top racing series level in all the world. I get it. But you have a solid ride. You're competing for a championship. You have a win all in your rookie year.
Yeah, you've got everything rolling for you.
Fill out the year at the very least.
Just end the year.
Yep. As for Formula One, the strict radio rules that nicked Nico Rosberg in the last race have been adjusted, leading to this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. Biggest change is a slight relaxing of the rules regarding what can be mentioned about a racer. The change reads, quote, indication of a problem with the car. Any message of this sort must include an irreversible instruction to enter the pits to rectify the problem or retire the car. So in other words, I can now tell you, don't go into seventh gear, come to the pits and we'll fix it. Or we're going to have to quit.
Okay.
Or else I have to shut the heck up and let you go into seventh gear and cause a wreck.
You know, it almost would make sense to me that the teams would have some sort of communication with Formula One where they could say, this is what we have going on. Are we permitted to let him know?
Yeah.
You know, something along those lines. NASCAR has that.
Yeah.
NASCAR has that with the crew chiefs and the crews and everything else. They can talk if they need to. Mm-hmm. They can let them know what's going on and everything else. I mean, they let them know when they're black flagged or whatever the case may be. Why doesn't Formula One have the same type of setup where they could say, they could get in touch with them and say, hey, we're missing seventh gear. Are we allowed to tell him what's going on? Yes, you can say this, but you can't say this. Okay, got it. Thank you. And they do that. It's not micromanaging, but it's a good cohesive solution to the problem.
Yeah. Also, as was the case with Lewis Hamilton a couple of events ago, another rule has been altered, which now deals with what the drivers can do when it comes to settings on the car. Remember, we were talking about how he's trying to switch dials and flip switches and trying to figure out what was going on with the power system on his car.
Yes.
Instructions now read on that. Instructions to select driver defaults. This must be for the sole purpose of mitigating loss of function of a sensor, actuator, or controller whose degradation or failure was not detected and handled by the onboard software. It will be the responsibility of any team giving any such instructions to satisfy the FIA technical delegate that this was the case and that any new setting chosen in this way did not enhance the performance of the car beyond that prior to the loss of function.
Okay, break that down for everybody that just went, huh?
Yeah, basically until the car went belly up, you can help your driver fix the car to get it back to the point where it was before it went belly up. But if he suddenly becomes faster, now we're going to have to penalize you.
Okay. Don't understand that one, but okay.
They're getting closer. These radio rules are going to be totally revisited in the offseason.
They have to be. They almost have to be. If they're not, it's going to be a horrible 2017 season.
I read the before and the after. And the before, I could tell the difference only because I reread it about 4 times. But they got so off into the weeds and the technical jargon that I almost couldn't resist sharing them with you because
you almost fell asleep?
Way off over here into left field.
Just nodding off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm back.
Left field hadn't been mowed in about 5 years. Officials with Mercedes are considering when they may opt to start two-time defending champion Lewis Hamilton from the back of the field. Notice I said when.
When.
It's going to happen because Hamilton is going to use more than his allotted 5 engines this season, according to Formula One rules. Speculation from German's racing newspaper Auto Motor und Sport.
You love saying that.
I do, because I actually can. It has the team thinking that they may put him at the back of the field for the Belgian Grand Prix early next month. Formula One rules state that each engine being used after the 5th engine used in a season incurs a 10 grid spot penalty after qualifying. Rules also allow for Mercedes to serve more than one penalty at a time, knowing they're likely going to need now more than one, but more than likely at least 2 engines through the rest of the season. So they feel like they want to take the full hit in one event.
Full hit in one event.
Yep. So if he qualifies first or second, which is almost a guarantee at just about any event, he takes the full hit, starts 21st, 22nd, and probably works his way back into the top 10.
If not top 5.
Probably.
Maybe podium.
Yeah, it's also possible.
And it's never. It's
not outside the realm of possibility. We've seen Mercedes do it before.
Yeah.
As for Hamilton's teammate Nico Rosberg and his contract, a couple of weeks ago, team principal Niki Lauda said that signing the extension was imminent. Then shortly thereafter, Rosberg tossed cold water on it happening anytime soon. Then Friday came down word that Rosberg had indeed signed the extension and will stay with Mercedes at least through the 2018 season. A Mercedes press release said simply, quote, "We are delighted to announce the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team," there's a handful, has signed a 2-year contract extension with Nico Rosberg for 2017 and 2018's Formula One seasons. Here's the interesting part now. The contracts of both Hamilton and Rosberg are slated to end at the end of the 2018 season.
And now more of As the Pirelli Turns.
Indeed.
Because that's going to set up for an extremely interesting end of 2018.
And we still have the soap opera of where we're going to hold the Italian Grand Prix. The Imola course has reached tentative agreement with Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone, which means they may be hosting the 2017 Italian Grand Prix. I use the word may because the deal needs to be approved by the Automobile Club of Italy. I'm not using the Italian phrasing of it because that I don't have.
Ah, darn.
This would also mean, by the way, for only the second time in the event's history, that it would move the Italian Grand Prix from the Monza course. It's the famed course that sees its contract with Formula One end after the season. The Automobile Club of Italy takes control of all negotiations with Formula One for any race happening in Italy. And while the two sides have been talking about returning to Monza, those talks have pretty much gone nowhere to date. Imola and Ecclestone reached the agreement behind the back of the ACI, so to speak, and the head of the ACI, whose name I will not attempt to butcher at this time, says that they are only going to back an Italian Grand Prix at the Monza course. Imola has undergone some major renovations since they last hosted Formula One, 2006, and that did make it attractive to Ecclestone and Formula One, who have been asking Monza to make changes to their course and facilities as well. But, hey, time will tell. At this point in time, there's the possibility we may not have an Italian Grand Prix next year.
That would be really
bad. Horrible.
I was thinking weird. That would be, but awful.
Yeah.
Terrible. That would be terrible. How are you not going to have an Italian Grand Prix?
This year we didn't have a German Grand Prix.
Yeah, and that's bad
it's
enough.
So odd.
It is. It's one of those things that's something's missing. Didn't we have a German Grand Prix? No, there wasn't one this year.
Yeah.
What do you mean there wasn't one this year? It's ingrained. It's part of the series.
To not have them in there, it's like NASCAR having done what they did with North Wilkesboro and Rockingham. It's so weird to not see them on the schedule.
Yes.
And it was for 3, 4, 5, 6 years after they were gone from the schedule. We still went, why aren't we there?
Yeah, it feels like we should be still going to those places, just like that. Formula One should have still been having the German Grand Prix, and the next year we should be having an Italian Grand Prix. They need to get their priorities straight.
Thanks, Burn.
Stuff
Yeah,
together. Yeah, I'm feeling that burn.
Oh, no.
Officials with Sauber have, 1 week after saying that they were still working on solutions to their financial problems, announced what those solutions are. The sale of the team. The organization has been undergoing some severe financial concerns. It's kept them from being able to keep up with the other teams in their car and engine development. According to the press release that was put out by Sauber, the sale was to a company called Longbow Finance SA. It's a Swiss financial company. It's going to result in their being able to remain part of the Formula One grid, but the deal also necessitated the retirement of the team's founder, Peter Sauber, although the team name Sauber is going to remain in place. The deal will keep team principal Monisha Kaltenborn in place as well, but in place of Peter Sauber, who founded the race team back in 1993, there will be a Longbow representative by the name of Pascal Peachy. Peachy. It's very peachy. Sauber himself released a statement expressing his pleasure that while he won't be a part of the team's future, he's happy to see the team continue under new ownership that he feels is going to do what is in the best interest of the racing future of that organization. I hope he's right. I do.
For his sake.
The father of late Formula One driver Jules Bianchi states that he has nothing to lose and has filed suit against Formula One, the FIA, and Marussia, not Manor, notably, in relation to his son's death because of a 2014 crash. Bianchi crashed during the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix, hit his head hard enough to go into a coma from which he never recovered and passed away July 17th of 2015. The FIA did an investigation. They determined Bianchi, quote, did not slow sufficiently to avoid losing control under the rainy conditions and double yellow flags that were being shown in the turns before the scene of his crash. It was first announced that the family was filing suit against both the sport and his former team. A statement released by the family reading in part, quote, they feel the action of one or more of those parties, amongst others, may have contributed to Jules' fatal accident, unquote. Nobody with the FIA, Formula One, or the former Marussia team, now known as Manor Racing, has commented on the legal action. I don't know how far this will go.
You know, if I'm a race driver climbing into a piece of machinery going 200 plus miles an hour, you have to assume some risk.
Sure.
You have to.
Yeah.
This lawsuit makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how far this is going to go, if it goes anywhere. Truth be told, the things over in Europe are different here. I'll be the first person to admit that. So I don't know what their rules and regulations are, but I still don't see where they're really going to get very far with this.
It's to the point where it can't do it. There's nothing.
All right,
it can't.
Let's do something a little more lighter-hearted. How's that?
Yeah, please.
Came across this announcement here. And a person who has entirely too much time on their hands has decided to count laps led by one driver in particular. The driver is now Bernd Maylander. You've never heard of him in all likelihood because he's the guy that pilots the Formula One safety car. Think pace car in NASCAR. In this case, though, the safety car isn't called out like NASCAR calls out the pace car.
Every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you have to have a really big problem for you to call out the safety car in Formula One.
Yes.
A user on Reddit, whose name I cannot put on the radio, otherwise we would get fined.
Really?
Yes. Went back to the first use of the safety car and then counted how many laps that car has led if it were considered to be a single driver. They would rank 27th on the all-time Formula One laps led list, ahead of names like Formula One champions Jody Scheckter, James Hunt, Jacques Villeneuve, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Phil Hill, among others. The safety car has led, and this is unofficial, of course, because Formula One doesn't keep track of this, 743 laps in its history. 637 of those have been led by the current driver, Bernd Maylander.
I think he needs put on the list.
I think he needs to be, yes. As we have said on the show on several occasions, not cheap to run a Formula One team. And in the case of Lotus, which sold to Renault during last offseason, we now know how expensive it was for them. Recent reports from European media have the Lotus organization in its final year of existence losing some £57 million. That's the English way of looking at money. It's a massive loss compared to the previous year where they reported an operating loss, but it was a quote-unquote measly £5.8 million. Since taking over day-to-day operations of the team last December, Renault, which has made the organization a works team, in other words, owned and operated by the automaker itself, they say they suffered a slow start because they were trying to clear the books of the debt they inherited when they bought Lotus. They feel as though they have the debt problems fixed now, and they're looking forward to concentrating on the racing for the second half of the Formula One season, which they term as the events following the upcoming August break, which still is kind of crazy how they take an entire month off. I don't know how they do that.
I wish I could take a month off every year.
Hush. Speaking of Renault, they have lost one of their top officers to Manor.
Oh.
Manor announced Thursday they've hired former Renault Chief Operating Officer Thomas Mayer. He is now the CEO of Manor. This is just the latest move by Manor as they attempt to become a regular championship points team in Formula One, something kind of rare for the organization because when they joined in 2010, since then they've only attained 3 championship points in total. One of those was earlier this year.
You know, this is not really good.
For
anybody.
Why?
Well, I mean, you're talking about Renault and you're talking about Manor. I mean, I could see if it was, somebody leaving, any of the other teams, like if it was something like Mercedes or Toro Rosso or something along those lines, I could see it. But I mean, it's just Renault.
You say just Renault, you got to realize these guys are taking on a brand new operation.
They
and
are
they're still, as a car company, viable. Not here, obviously, in the United States, but in Europe, Renault is one of the biggest organizations that's out there.
They are. I mean, that is true.
For them to pull the COO from them and to put him in the CEO role instead of having to overlook the entire car company plus the racing organization, now all he's got is the racing organization.
I mean, okay, when you put it like that, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I understand your
I think
reticence.
I'm still just kind of on the fence about Manor in general.
They've got a lot to prove.
We've already talked about all these crazy things they've done, and it hasn't helped. Except they got 1 point.
They got 1 point.
They got 1 point.
We haven't seen a whole lot from them this
Yes.
year, but I will say this, and this is kind of a dig on Rio Haryanto as well. When they had Rossi in the car, again, Rossi stay the rest of the year in IndyCar, but when they had Rossi in the car, they were actually a much better organization last year.
It's going to be a couple years, but they'll get there.
Sooner or later, because I think they're starting to put the right chess pieces in the right spots.
Yeah, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. So
Sure.
it's always a possibility.
They may actually get that clock ticking again.
Yeah, maybe. Let's change the battery.
Yeah, really. Haas F1 team stated plans to secure its 2017 driver lineup soon, but going to wait until after the quote-unquote European season is complete. The run of events in Europe comes to an end in September. It's about that time Haas officials hope to have a decision on who will drive for the team in their second year. Team principal Gunther Steiner got even more specific, said the talk of 2017 driver lineup isn't even going to begin until after this year's Italian Grand Prix. Esteban Gutierrez says, by the way, I don't care what they say, I'm driving Formula One next year. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
Formula E officials attempting to separate themselves out from their big brother Formula One. They want to make the cars look a little bit more different in the upcoming third season. In the works is what is now being termed a biplane nose, where the lower tier of the front wing would still be adjustable for either downforce or speed. The upper tier wouldn't be adjustable in race. According to one report, the new upper tier of the front wing is actually more for looks, like will have little impact on the aerodynamics. I took a look at it. It kind of makes the car look like the Batmobile.
It does. Very much so.
Very odd.
Yes.
Fox Sports, we talked about this earlier, taking over the airing of the NHRA's Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series from ESPN has already increased the overall viewership by doing something ESPN never did, air their finals live. Soon, as in this weekend, broadcast television coverage for the first time in the 65-year history of NASCAR. The Mopar Mile High Nationals airing on the Fox mothership from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, 2 to 5 p.m. Central Time. And this will mark the first of 3 straight events Fox will air on the main network, and that includes Labor Day weekend's U.S. Nationals.
I love it, NHRA.
Absolutely. And cool conditions in Denver has already led to record-breaking performances for the NHRA in their first day of runs. Courtney Force, one of the record setters, her Chevy Camaro Funny Car has the track record of 3.197 second ETA. Steve Torrance set a new top fuel track record in qualifying. Erica Enders set a new track record for Pro Stock. And in the Pro Motorcycle division, you got another one.
Records breaking all over the place.
It's going to be a record-breaking weekend out in Denver. You're going to want to check that out tomorrow. Again, 2 to 5 Central Time here in Alabama.
Alabama.
We got to go, man.
We do.
Yep.
It's all over.
Thank you for checking it out. Enjoy the racing.
See ya!